Hey everybody, it's Monday Night Live. So we are live at my office. We are just out here hanging out. It's been a crazy day. So did everybody get to go travel back in time? How was your day? It was weird. I woke up this morning at I don't know what I felt was 6 a.m. I'm not really sure. But I was like looking at my husband, I'm going, I feel like this is jet lagging ourselves by changing this hour nonsense. So I really wish, we don't really rely on like the sun and stuff as much anymore for telling our time. We have our Fitbits and our smartwatches and our cell phones and stuff like that. So I'm not entirely sure why we still do this nightmare twice a year of setting clocks forward and back and having to reset. I think I set 5 clocks today. It's really annoying. But anyway, so hopefully you did not have the craziness that I had. Maybe you're in one of the states where they don't do that. Oh my goodness, my hair is crazy today. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, so I was basically, I don't know, just an hour off. I was an hour off on everything today. But we made it through. It's all good. I guess if you have any questions for me, go ahead and throw them into the chat. If, however, you would want to find out, like, I don't know, if it was something more personal, you don't really want to put it up here. Maybe something regarding buying a house yourself, or you just want to actually chit chat like one on one with me, then I put the email address in there. So, hey, Crucero, how are you? Haven't seen you on here in a while. I've been doing these a little bit early, or maybe it just feels like it's a little early. I don't know. Write an email to Ingrid as I type. Wow, that's pretty good. So I was actually texting with her a little while ago. So, but yes, if you would like to have the information, you have it in there. So, but yeah, chat is a great thing. Chat is awesome, very helpful. So that was good. I do have to say we had a awesome weekend though. On Saturday, we did the chili cook-off, the same as we've done for about 10 years now, and we finally won a trophy. So huge shout out to my whole team, everybody that participated, and we got best booth, and it was by the judges. So it's much more fair that way, because the other ones, it can be, if it's people's choice, although we did get about just under 100 tickets from people saying that we had the best booth. But sometimes, people will have like their family and friends, and like, I don't know, a whole bunch of people will come in, or sometimes they'll bribe them. I mean, it's a very stiff competition at the chili cook-off. Okay. It's, small town anyway. So there's about 100 of the little booths. I don't know, but maybe not 100, because some of them have like double booths. Like we had a double booth, because it's almost impossible. It is almost impossible to have the chili cooking and heating up, and then at the same time, you're serving the chili, and everybody's got toppings and they've got stuff going with it. And then you also have your entire booth as well. It's like it's almost impossible doing it in a 10 by 10 square. It's like impossible. So we do a 10 by 20. We get 2 spots. And the one is like the whole chili setup, and then the other part is like our actual booth and theme and stuff. And so of course we decorate the whole thing continuously, but it's just I wouldn't even say it would be safe to put it all in there together. But yeah, we did a whole bunch of chili. It takes about 20 to 30 gallons of chili. And so we all work together and make the same recipe, and then it all just kind of goes in the same vat. And yeah, it's mayhem. It's absolutely mayhem. We had a huge setback on Friday as we were setting up. We had 2 massive balloon archways, and it was going to be like the piece de resistance. And as we were about to blow, and then we were going to give away helium balloons to the kids. So it was going to be a whole bunch of all sorts of balloons. And yeah, we bought 3 helium tanks to give away these balloons. And as we were setting up, we hadn't even blown up 1 balloon yet. and they came by and said, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. You can't do balloons at all because this is the livestock pavilion. There's horses in the barn behind here, and it will scare the horses if the balloons pop." Which, as you know, if you're going to blow up like 2 or 300 balloons, they're going to pop. So yeah, we got told no balloons. We're like, that was literally the entire like it was so bad. So now I have like 2 or 300 balloons. Uh but that's okay. We are going to use them for other things. I have a balloon blower upper too. It's like a little machine and you just stick the balloon on and it fills it up with air. So the decorative ones were supposed to go in with that. Anyway, it was a whole big thing. I was so upset on Friday. I was like, there's no way we're going to win Best Booth now because the large portion of our decorating is now, and we can't give away balloons, which the kids love, because of, yeah, the horses. So had I seen that before, I would have known, but I did not know. I did not see that anywhere on there. There's a few things that was like, it was kind of hard to find. So, like, are pets allowed? Man, I had to go diving deep because it didn't say anywhere no pets allowed. So I was just looking for it. I'm just opening this thing. It's a little thing that gets mailed out in my neighborhood, and I kept forgetting to look at it. But anyway, it's just a really cute like real estate market update. So it goes to all my neighbors. That's page 1. But I mail it to myself as well so that I actually know when it was mailed out and what it looked like. This is just a little letter. And then this is actually like all the information about the neighborhood in the last, like, I think it's the last month. So yeah, so little charts and graphs and what's going on and which houses are for sale and for what price and which ones sold. So kind of interesting when they were built, how many bedrooms, bathrooms. So it just kind of helps people to see like what the value of their house is. So kind of interesting. I don't know. I like sending it out. So wouldn't you love to be my neighbor? All my neighbors get this sent to them. I don't know. But yeah, so that came in the mail. I was like, oh yeah. Wonder how that looks. But yeah, so it goes through like the prior month. So anyway, it's just something to send out. I don't know. All my neighbors should probably know me. I'm not sure. I've gone and like chatted with them enough. My husband, he's really the one that everybody knows. He's so talkative. He seems really quiet and shy, but once you get him going, it's hard to get him to quiet down again. So they all know him because he'll sit there and talk your ear off. And I'm a little more, I guess I'm a little more shy. Like, I don't mind this. This is fine. This is, whatever. But if it's like a group of people or something, then I'm a little more shy. I'm really not great, like, in a group. I can be like teaching. I can get up there and public speak without a problem. I would happily rather be on stage than in a group of people. It's weird. It's the weirdest, like, people have the weirdest phobias and stuff. Like, it's not really a phobia, it's just I'm uncomfortable. Because I have to have a plan, there needs to be a plan for it. So, like, we have networking things here in town. They're really popular. One of the most popular ones is the breakfast, and it's once a month. And you go there and there's this whole thing. First, you go and find your seat where you want to sit at the different tables. And then you go and get yourself coffee or orange juice or whatever. And then they start breakfast and you go and get your breakfast. And then you sit down, you talk to the people at the table. And then there's, Kevin Sheely goes up and he talks. He's the CEP president. He goes up and he talks about, what's going on that month. They have a sponsor that goes up and talks. And then there's the guest speaker, and they always have amazing guest speakers. Like, we had like the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, the DBPR secretary was up there one meeting. Like, just really, really good speakers come in for that. But there's like a set thing, and I don't have to talk to like 1,000 people. I only have to talk to the people at my table. So it goes from being I mean, there's normally about 400 people in the room, and I'm completely fine, like, absolutely completely fine because we're all like, I only have to worry about, like, that one little table. It makes it so it's maybe, like, 5 or 6 people. It's perfect, okay? There's another event, like, the next night on it's always on the Thursday, 3rd Thursday of the month. There's this after hours networking event, and they go to a different business or whatever. And it normally has there's alcohol and drinks and stuff. And you have 2 tickets, and then they have like food and it's really cool because you can find out about different businesses and stuff. I do not like going to those. I absolutely do not like going to them because I go and then there's no routine. There's no like there's no playbook. I don't like that at all. I do not like it. So I always go there and I'm just kind of like petrified. Absolutely petrified. Everybody comes up to me and is like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I absolutely have the worst deer in the headlights. Like, so if you ever go to a CEP after hours, and even if we're best friends and I don't recognize you, it's because I am peeing my pants scared. Like, I absolutely do not know what to do with myself at all in those. I rarely go to them. I just do not, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. But the other one, the breakfast, oh my goodness, I love that. I absolutely love going to those. And I go up and I figure out during, because there's no pressure, it's like you can kind of figure out who you want to talk to afterwards. You go up and, talk to that person, or maybe it's like somebody you haven't seen in a while. So you go and talk to, no pressure. It's great. But at the after hours thing, it's just hundreds of people and they're everywhere and everybody's moving and you can't really see anything. And I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. What do I do with my hands? Like, so sometimes I'll go and take pictures and stuff and, show that I was there and show who else was there and stuff like that. But um, that at least gives me something to do. So if they actually gave me something to do, I'd be on it. I would be every single one. I wouldn't miss them. But just going and attending and not knowing what to do with myself, no, I don't like that. Crucero says, have you ever have a lender give a pre-approval if the client only has an employment offer letter? Yes, absolutely. Hope this makes sense. Yes, absolutely. I have actually, I've sold houses like that, absolutely without a problem. So there's certain stipulations and stuff in it. I remember one buyer, he was so sweet. He was so sweet. He wanted to buy a house um, for his parents and him to live in, and he was just the sweetest guy. And I loved helping him. I did everything I could to help him. He's just so sweet. But he had an offer letter. He was working at a hotel up north, and then he was coming down, but he wasn't doing a transfer. He was going to, because they didn't have a location. He wanted to come to Ocala, but they didn't have the same hotel company down here. So if he wanted to come to Ocala, he had to go to a different hotel. Now it was the same line of work. It's totally the same line of work. So it wasn't like he was going from working in a hotel to working in a hospital. Okay. So that is one of the stipulations, is it has to be like kind of thing. You can't go with a whole new career normally. So it does need to be. It's more looked at as a transfer, but it's through a different company. So that's basically what they do. But yeah, he came down. He actually got 2 offer letters, and so he was trying to decide which one to go with. And I was like, I just need one of the offer letters to show that you are offered a position and how much and you'll be making and all of that. And so he used one of those, and then he's like, but do I need to like work there for the next 30 years? And he's like, what if I want to change my job? And I was like, this isn't a prison sentence, it's a mortgage. So yes, of course, once we're through with the mortgage process and you get the keys to your house, if you want to go ahead and make a career change or whatever after that, that's totally up to you. But this is to get through the process. Obviously, he was going to take one of the 2 jobs. He just wasn't sure which one of them he really felt comfortable, and they were very similar. So he could have used either one of the letters. But we used one of them just to, get things moving so he could have a house down here for when he did actually transfer or come down here. And but he was worried that he was like locked in. That's it for the next 30 years while you have this mortgage. You're in it. And I was just cracking up. I was like, it did. It felt like he was like, I was like, it's not, I'm so glad he asked. Oh my God. I'm so glad he asked. Cause what if he thought that and then like, 20 years in, he finds out that he never had to stay there. I mean, like, please, if you have a question like that, please ask because I would have never fathomed that that thought was going through his head. It's only during the mortgage process. Once you have the keys to your house, they don't care. As long as you're actually employed and can pay the mortgage, they don't care where it actually comes from. But they have to approve it. And to approve the mortgage, they have to have proof of income. And that letter will actually, in most cases, it will show, your proof of income. So sure. So you're keeping the same area, healthcare, non-clinical. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, yeah, healthcare, honestly, that's probably the easiest one for them to approve. So, if you're, non-clinical and you're doing healthcare management or something like that, like anyway, anything in healthcare, honestly, that's the easiest one for them to just be like, yep, absolutely, because you're going to be employed, especially in Florida. If you have any kind of healthcare related job, you have employment here. Not a question. We have still a large percentage of our population that is over the retirement age. So, in that age range, in that demographic, if you want to say it, they have more healthcare concerns on average than other demographics. So, I'm trying to be as but yeah, you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible. But yeah, they just will say they have more health concerns than maybe somebody that's like my age, for example, or my kid's age. So we have a large need for people in the healthcare fields, no, whether it's clinical or not. So, but yeah, I mean, the crazy one are doctors. It's absolutely insane sometimes. So they will do a doctor will come in owing like hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans, have never actually worked. They're still in like they're still like doing their residency, and banks jump over themselves trying to get a mortgage for these doctors. And it's like, really? But yeah, absolutely. They actually have like a residency program and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, they will absolutely, they actually have specific programs just for them. So does not even matter. They don't even blink. You can have hundreds of thousands of dollars um, in student loans and they won't even blink. They won't even flinch. It's like, wow, okay. Very rare that that happens in any other field, but that one for sure. But yeah, it's actually crazy. My daughter was in her, she's taking a college algebra class. She's in high school and she's taking a college algebra class. And she's like, she goes, yeah. So, the teacher was explaining about compound interest and mortgages. And she was also talking about going to college, and we had some different, stuff. So we were trying to figure out mathematically an actual situation as far as interest rates and compound interest. And they were using algebra to do it, which I loved. I was like, wow, you can actually show kids how to use these formulas in real life. I love that. Real life that they're actually going to be seeing in the not too distant future. So it was really, really exciting to see that. The only thing I had an issue is she goes, Mom, you would have absolutely died. I was like, why? And she goes, well, she said to do a 30-year mortgage, but pay it off in 15 years. And I was like, that's not good advice. And she goes, yeah, she goes, I know. Even the teacher did say that they were going to lose money that way. I was like, did she go over the math? Because that's not a good idea, for not just because a lot of people aren't going to have the self-discipline to do that, but also mathematically it does not math. So, for yeah, a lot of reasons. But I mean, yes, you will pay it off faster, but if you get a 15-year mortgage, first off, you have to pay it off faster. But also the interest rate on a 15-year mortgage is normally considerably less than a 30-year mortgage. So, yeah, anyway, there's that. So yeah, that was already kind of like, if you're already going to pay the amount anyway, why would you pay the extra? Like, why? But anyway, so that was one of her things. And then another was, yeah, she was talking about, she actually had the kids pull up what college they were hoping to go to and to figure out how much it was for tuition and I guess books and living off campus or on campus or whatever. I don't know. But she had them all pull up whatever college it was that they wanted to do and actually figure out how much it was going to cost them and per year. Yeah, per semester, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so she had them figure that out. And I think quite a few of them were shocked and appalled. So our kids, we've had this discussion. We've had a lot of discussions about, what life actually costs. Because I didn't have those discussions with my parents. And um, I had to learn things the hard way, and that's not a good way to learn. That's not how I want my kids to learn. I want them to learn from my mistakes and from other people's mistakes and not learn it for themselves. So, um, anyway, they both know if they ever do a student loan, they're getting disowned. But yeah, so she's like, she goes, yeah, she was saying that, um, the grand majority in the classroom probably would and should go ahead and get student loans. She goes, you would have literally died. I was like, I already like trying so hard not to send an email to your teacher. But no, I was like, did she go over student loans and basically how you can't get out of them unless you die? And she's just like, no, she didn't really go over that much of that. And I was like, okay. She went over like the various kinds of student loans. She's like, no, we didn't really go into it. We just mathed it out. And I'm like, that math is not mathing. That math, we are going to have to talk. So so yeah. She's like, yeah. She goes, Mom, I know I'm not going to do a student loan. She goes, I would rather not go to college than to go to college and get a student loan, which honestly, please. Yes, that I love that. She says, I could wait a year and go to college. If I don't know what I want to be, why would I go to college? And I was like, yeah, but a lot of people, they don't think that way. They think, okay, high school's over. Let's go to college, even though they have no concept of what they want to do. And, or maybe it changes several times over. And that's a lot of wasted money and time, of so much time. So, and I've noticed she was always so clear on what she wanted to do. And I'm worried now she doesn't think that she can do it. And that's why she's looking for a backup plan. Because she always wanted to be a book editor, which, by the way, she would be a fantastic book editor. But she's now started kind of going, well, I don't know if I want to do that. Or if I want to go into like nursing or something like that. And I'm just going, well, that's a huge difference. So, I want to make sure that she is aware of the different jobs and what that really brings. She doesn't want anything to do with being a realtor. And I'm hoping that someday she will be a realtor, but whatever. But honestly, she would be a really, really good book editor and she would be a fantastic writer. She has a very different way of seeing the world. And that's something that, anybody that has that different viewpoint on the world, they should share that, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. I think they definitely should share that. So whether they get paid for the privilege or not. So I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. So she's 15. She doesn't really need to figure that stuff out yet. So, but it was kind of funny that she was talking about, I don't know how the entire classroom was like, yeah, this is, absolutely terrible. We're going to have to get this much in student loans. But it's just what we're going to do. And she's just like looking around at her fellow students going, there's a better way, like just work and save the money. There's a way better way. But she's already working. She's been working for, about 6 months now. She works at Chick-fil-A. So she's doing well. But yeah, she cracks me up. She's definitely cracking me up with that stuff. But yeah, I could not believe that. I guess that's a lot though. When you go into the schools, they start talking about how great it is to have a student loan. But I get people on the other side of it. It's not just from like researching and stuff because I got kids that age. It's also because I've been doing property management for almost 20 years. I cannot tell you how many rental applications I have seen. I can't. I saw at least 3 today alone. And I don't even have the majority of the applications. I'm the kind of escalations department at this point. So if there's a tricky kind of like, well, it's kind of like gray area in the guidelines, so I'm not really sure, what's your thought on this, then I have to review it. I don't know who the person is. I don't really even look at their name. I don't know where they're from. I don't know anything like that. So as far as demographic, I don't know. I can't know because I can't make a decision based on any of the fair housing issues. So I look at the facts of the application and try and go from there. And man, that we had some tricky ones that came in today. But again, looking at, I would say thousands of applications, easily thousands of applications over the years, and what student loans do to people. Would never ever want my kids to have that. Never. Just wouldn't do it. When somebody comes in and they're making less than a Walmart full-time employee, like they're making like $30,000, and they've got over $100,000 in student loans. I'm like, that, why? Like, why? That one, it floors me. It absolutely floors me. So yeah, I have talked to the kids until they can literally quote me to me, and they're like, I know, don't get on your soapbox, mom. I'm just telling you what happened in class. Okay. Good. But we want our kids to, be able to handle things. And honestly, I think we've kind of gone a little too far the other way. My daughter is like a little bit crazy about saving her money, and our son is actually really, really good with saving his money too. So he was a little bit crazy. Like we would go to the fair even when he was like 12. We'd go to the strawberry festival, and they'd have their bracelets, and we would take our little Coke cans because then you get $5 off. I mean, we try and save money where we can, so that we can splurge in other areas. So we would go, and they could ride all the rides they wanted all day long, and there were some really amazing rides at the strawberry festival. And I'd give them like $20, and I'm like, that will not here. This is not going to even last for one meal. They're going to be back after, a short period of time asking for another 20. But no, end of the day, he comes up to me and he's like, we split everything. Here's your change. And he gave me like $8 back. And I'm like, what did you buy? Why are you giving me change back? I would have never done that with my parents. I'd be like, as mine. Yeah. But no, they just are really, really good. They're like, no, we got what we wanted. We're good. So, yeah, they're both like that, which is great. So, hopefully we've set them up to do well. We'll see. But their dad, he is so much, he could squeeze 2 pennies and pop out a dime. I'm not even joking. This guy is like way more. I prefer to have a life. I do. You have to have a balance. Okay. I mean, I like stuff. I definitely like to have, what my biggest weakness is? Those stupid organizational things. I spend more money trying to organize our junk than I actually spend on the junk we own. Like seriously, I see something on Pinterest and I'm like, that'll work. And then I get it and it will not work. It will not work. I'm like, why did they got me again? It's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's not just me. I hope that it's not just me, but man, those organizational, like the only one I don't do is anymore. I did it once or twice and I was like, wow, that was a waste of wow. But it looks so pretty on Pinterest. I go to like, 50 different things you can do with the dollar store stuff and, Yeah, no, it doesn't work. It never works for me. I've tried all that stuff. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. I'm putting on some Carmex. It is like dry right now. Hey, Mercator Acres. Hey, how's it going? Mercator. Is it Mercator or McAteer? McAteer. I don't know. I don't know how to say that. I've never been able to say it. I've asked my husband that multiple times, and he's like, I don't know. Um, I love that neighborhood. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for watching. I really do. I love that neighborhood. It's absolutely awesome. So we had a great time over the weekend at the strawberry fest, or excuse me, at the chili cook-off. See, I'm like stuck on the strawberry festival now. If you don't know, if you are new to Florida, right now is when you're supposed to be planting your strawberries. So they come up in about 8 weeks. Oh my goodness, that was forever ago. Holy smokes. That was literally, oh my goodness, that had to have been a year or two. It was a while ago. That is awesome. So did you actually create the tennis store? Like, are we doing a tennis store? You know what you need to do is pickleball. Holy smokes. Everybody. McAteer. Oh, that works. McAteer. Okay, it's McAteer. Thank you for clearing that up. Um, man, pickleball. Holy I cannot anything with a ball. I can't. There it's no. I there is it I can't. But everybody is going nuts for pickleball. It is absolutely intense right now. Like every single 55 plus community, every single community center, they all are doing, they're doing free classes at the parks. They are doing, this is getting wild, all about the pickleball. So I don't know. Yes, tennis is awesome, but definitely leave some space in it for pickleball gone wild. Like seriously, it is something right now. I have no idea how to play. Like my husband might get into it. I don't know. He was a really big tennis fiend back in the day, and then he tore his rotator cuff and it has never properly healed. So if we go to even do bowling, he was a bowling captain too. He pretty much everything that could tear up his rotator cuff, he did that. So we can go and play bowling, but we can only do one game and then it starts hurting. And it's been like decades. So it doesn't bother him normally, but if he does tennis, golf, or bowling, basically his three favorite things, then he's going to be in pain. He's going to be icing his shoulder. So, oh, cool. We have pickleball, paddles, gloves, ball. Yes. Ah, that's awesome. That is so cool. Well, I'll come down there and do a video. Chelsea Square Plaza. Okay. I'm making a note. I've got it right here. Okay. Tennis and pickleball. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Currently have shoes at 20% off. Well, there we go. Let's see. Simple, beautiful. Hello. What area in the Ocala area is growing the fastest and the least fastest? Love the show. Oh, thank you. Name of the store is Racket Experts. Okay. With an X. Okay. Racket Experts. Okay. Don't try and get me into it. I'm really bad at it. Okay. Like I tried playing racquetball one time and it was humiliating. I tried playing baseball once too, and also not good. Something with I don't know. It doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. My hand-eye coordination is broken. It's okay. I've at this age in my life, I'm aware of my deficiencies and have moved on. But you don't need to see it in real life. Okay, so Simple, beautiful. Yes, the answer is pretty much everything in the west side is what's really hopping and growing right now. I used to say southwest, but because of the serious growth with the Bucky's coming in and the World Equestrian Center, I'm not going to say southwest anymore. I think that actually encompasses going into the northwest as well. So pretty much everything on the from Ocala Center west is what's really in the next 10 to 20 years. You're going to see absolutely intense growth. Anything near or around I-75, that's really what's bringing the growth is that Ocala and I-75. Now we're about to have I-75 actually grow as well. Yay! We're going from 6 lanes to 8 lanes, all the way from Wildwood to the north end of town, which is 326. That's probably the most north exit. So all of that is getting widened. We're getting an extra lane on both sides. So yay, that's so helpful. But yeah, it's also incredibly a lot of growth over there. Now, what I'm not seeing is over in like Silver Springs and Silver Spring Shores. There is some growth, but not much, not to the same degree at all. So I can't say it's all spread out growth or anything. It's not. Also, Denellen has grown considerably, but it's not where the rest of Marion County is either. So I would say just basically going along I-75, anything around that. So obviously Marion Oaks exploded in growth. It has grown so much, and it will continue to grow as well because they are getting uh, an overpass eventually over top of I-75. And once they have that overpass, that means that everybody in Marion Oaks development will be able to get to the villages super fast and easy, which is going to just really help that area too. So it's on the DOT, it's on their slated things to do eventually. But it's not okay, here's where we're going to start with that. I really would hope that they would do it while they're doing the 4 lanes anyway. I mean, if you got you guys doing it, you might as well go ahead and give us that overpass, because we are getting another entrance and exit where the Bucky's is coming in. And that's actually already slated. It's approved. It's going. And the governor is trying to fast track that. So hopefully they'll do both at the same time. We'll see. But that's still all going to be on the west side of town, northwest and southwest of Marion County. That's all kind of right in there. So yeah, a lot of growth. And we're probably going to see more growth over at the airport. Eventually, soon, we are going to get commercial flights in Ocala. That is the big push that the CEP, the chamber, has really wanted to do, was to get commercial flights coming in so that people can actually fly in and out of Ocala. And let me tell you, it would probably be more expensive, but truthfully, I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat without having to drive to like Orlando or Tampa. I would probably pay extra just to have my family fly. Because driving over there, I don't want to. Which you can fly in and out of Gainesville, but I mean, if you're going to pay extra, make sure it's worth it. So, I prefer they, fly into Ocala. So once we have commercial flights in Ocala, all we need is one airline to say, yes, Ocala is finally on the map. You guys are big enough. We're going to go ahead and do that. A lot of people think it's because the airport is not big enough yet. That is not the case. It's actually more than sufficient to handle a commercial airline. And we used to have commercial airlines flying in and out of here. So it's not because of that. It's because our town has to be sufficiently large enough to basically make it worth their while. And we're right on the border of it. So we need at least one airline to go, you know what? We don't really need to be in Orlando or Tampa. We're going to go ahead and do Ocala, and maybe we'll make more money that way. Because that's what it is. It's all about the money. I mean, they're companies. They gotta make massive corporations. They gotta make money too. So yeah, that is what they are doing. Thank you, by the way, Draculi, for the address. I'm gonna write it down anyway, but I know where it is. I think there's actually a coffee shop. That's right where the McDonald's is, and there's a Wendy's, and there's a Montessori school. All of that's like right over there, right? I'm over there fairly often because I go to First American. I can help it. I go to First American Title for a lot of closings. I've been going there for many years. So, oh no, sorry. Well, I will come over and see you guys. It says, looking forward to meeting you at the chili cook-off, but my wife and I got a new puppy and we were told no pets. I know it sucks. I have a puppy as well. And but I honestly probably wouldn't have brought her to that. There was a lot of people and it was mayhem. I have brought her to some events. She's born end of January. And she's crazy though. She's like full on. Some days she pretends that she's normal. Other days I'm like, what in the world is wrong with this dog? Like, what have we done? She's awesome. She's fun, but she is crazy. There's something not quite right with that one. I don't know. She makes me laugh though. She does. She makes me laugh quite a bit. She is just she's very lovable and everything, but she is crazy, very high energy, very high strung. She's not one to like sit and cuddle with you and stuff. She'd rather be like bouncing off the walls and the couches. And yeah, she's a trip. So yeah, she's funny. But I tried to talk my husband into getting another puppy so that she would have a friend so she wouldn't be as like off the walls. And he's like, are you out of your mind? We shouldn't have even gotten one. Now you want to get two? And I'm like, she needs a friend. Maybe she won't be as crazy. He goes, no, we'll have crazy times too. That's not a plan. But she's actually not as crazy when there's other dogs around. So maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Have you heard anything about renting in the West Shire Village on 200? Because there's no reviews and they're still building, but people are already living in them. I have not. I have heard there's quite a few apartment complexes that are finally done. Those were all when the Chamber of Commerce, when they really have a goal on something, they do everything they can to get it through. And one of their goals several years ago, I'd say 3 years ago, was to bring in more housing because we really needed multifamily housing. We really don't have that many apartment complexes. So they did. They found investors for it, but the investors were um they ended up doing like 12 to 14 apartment complexes. And they all started right around the same time. So now we're just now, because it does take a couple of years. I mean, they got to find the land, they got to find the investors, they got to find, they got to get through all the permits and the architecture and the all of that stuff. I mean, all of it's crazy when you're doing with something with that big of a scale. So anyway, so they're all now coming up available. Well, now they're all competing with each other at the same time too. And so they're doing some really good deals at some of these apartment complexes, like 2 months off, 2 months rent free, stuff like that. Lower than normal security deposits with good credit, like stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting because we're in property management. So we talked about it. We're like, well, it's technically competition, but at the same time, ours are normally houses as opposed to, we don't really have too many apartment complexes that we manage. We have two, we have some, duplex multifamilies, but mostly we've only got like two complexes that are apartments. So, it's just not really we're not really competition. They're not really competition for us because it's different. It's a very different stuff. Somebody that wants a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a fenced in yard is not going to be somebody that's also looking for a 3-bedroom apartment because it's a very different lifestyle. So, anyway, it was just we're just kind of like, wow, 2 months of free rent though. I might sign up for that lifestyle. But that's not something that we could or would offer. But because they're large investors and corporations that are doing this, they are offering some very, very nice incentives to have people go ahead and move in because there's so many that are coming up available all at the same time. So if you're looking to move into them, they have not been there long enough to have gotten reviews. I haven't heard anything from them yet as far as what it's like living there. Hopefully, they will begin as they mean to continue, and they will have some very good management in place that will solidify those reviews and get some very good customer service going. But it's really, the building could be a great building, but if you have bad management or somebody that really doesn't like their job or doesn't like people, they're going to have a very, very, very bad time of it. And same thing, if you have, a fantastic person that's working there that absolutely loves her tenants and takes care of them or his or, whatever. But the building is, paper thin walls or bad construction or something like that, where, you hear everything and then some and all the traffic or whatever. It has to have both components. It really does. And having it priced right. So there's a lot of different things in there um, that would really kind of, help or hinder the situation. I have not heard anything yet. They're just too new. I won't hear anything until people are coming up on their renewals. And then they'll be like, oh my goodness. Because normally the real reviews, are not really going to come out until somebody has moved out. And those that break a lease and move out, I'm not sure how much of those reviews I'm really going to, it's basically those that have lived there for a year, maybe even two. And they're like, this was a fantastic place to live. I really enjoyed my time there. That is a real review. Or, I did live there for a year. I moved out as soon as I could because it just really wasn't that great of an experience. And I really wanted to move on from there. That's a review I would listen to as well. Somebody that, just is there for a few months of free rent and then maybe moves out after a couple months after that. I'm not really going to be looking at that kind of review. I'm really kind of looking at those that have actually been there for at least for a year, and maybe they go ahead and renew, or whatever if they've been there for a while. But I don't know anybody that's moved in there yet, so we'll see. I will know very quickly once those reviews and those tenants start coming in. If they come in, they broke their lease and they're like, I had to get out of there. It was my sanity or but I haven't seen anything like that yet. I have not. So no news is good news. We'll go with that right now. 'Cause I don't know. How many new residents moved to Ocala area since the pandemic? How is the demand versus supply of houses? Is Marion Oaks running out of houses? No, Marion Oaks is definitely not running out of houses. Not at all. They have a lot of smaller builders, and they do have like DR Horton. They actually have Deltona. They have a lot of builders actually down there. Um, no, it definitely exploded as far as growth, but it still has miles of lots that are just vacant. So, I mean, you go down to Marion Oaks and it's still gobs and gobs of trees, especially down on the southern portion of it. So, no, it's no, it's not house after house after house after house. In some areas, yeah, you actually have a subdivision and you have, but no, there's still a large percentage of Marion Oaks that is completely undeveloped. Excuse me. It's lots, it's parcels that are sold, but nobody's living in them. Nobody's built anything. It's just trees. How many residents have moved to Ocala area since the pandemic? Holy smokes. I actually used to know that number. Um, a lot. We'll go with that. No, we actually Florida had a large, percentage of people moving here. A large percentage of people are still moving to Ocala, but not nearly as much as during the pandemic. During the pandemic, we were definitely very popular. Had we had more houses, we would have had more growth. But I can't tell you how many times people came down and we would go looking at houses and we would go house after house and they would put offer after offer cash and they could not. I think one I made actually 8 different offers for them in the course of a week, and we saw countless houses together, and they even going above asking price, they finally just went home. They're like, I guess we're not moving to Ocala because we cannot find a house." I'm like, "I am so sorry. I'm doing everything humanly possible to get you into the home you want, but it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. We would go to a house in a subdivision that was like, it was okay. But yeah, we went up to like OP. We went to Ocala Park Estates. It's an okay subdivision, but it's fairly close to the World Equestrian Center, which happened to open basically right at the same time. It happened. So yeah, the World Equestrian Center opened basically during that whole pandemic because it was all outside stuff anyway. So what do they care? So, yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So Ocala Park Estates, which is very close, it's probably the closest subdivision to the World Equestrian Center, all of a sudden became the most sought after subdivision. Whereas before I'm like, it's okay, but it's not all that. All of a sudden everybody wanted it. So like that was one of the houses that I showed. It was an okay house. It was built in 2006. It was like a 3-2 with double car garage. That was it. There was nothing fancy about it. It was a rental for several years. It had no glitz, no glamour. When we showed up, not for an open house, mind you, just for a showing, on day one of it hitting the market, there were rows of cars of realtors showing that house. The key never made it to the lockbox because it was just one realtor after another after realtor. And you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to put it in the lockbox. You're not supposed to just keep handing it because then you're the one that opened the lockbox and you're responsible for it. So I the realtor behind me kept mad because I put it in the lockbox and I'm like, look, whatever you do with that key is on you. It's in the lockbox. Go for it. And she's like, oh, so she had to take the extra 5 seconds to open the lockbox. But there was like 10 other people waiting to come in for their 3 minutes to look at the house. It was absolutely insane. I didn't get to sleep for about a year and a half. I basically had like 4 hours of sleep a night. I had so much work pouring in that it was ridiculous. So I'm glad that portion is over. But we are definitely still growing, which is interesting because a lot of the United States is not. They're already well into a recession or coming into a recession. It takes a little longer for us to catch on to stuff, I guess. So we will probably feel that more so in the next year or so. But for right now, we're still going strong. We're still growing. And the people moving to Ocala has not slowed much this year, even with the interest rate being at crazy amounts because they're doing things like going to Lennar or DR Horton and they're offering incentives by buying down the points through the entire life of the loan. So you can actually buy a brand new construction home at like 4.9% right now. Well, of course they're going to do that. So we are still selling a lot of Lennar, a lot of DR Horton homes because of those incentives. Oh, and paying the closing costs too. I mean, hello, who wouldn't? You can get like an FHA loan or something. I mean, that's of course. So yeah, a lot of that is still going on. We're still seeing a lot of construction. I was looking, I probably saw just on my ride into the office this morning, I probably saw 20 houses being built. So yeah, they're still moving right along. Do you know how many lots Marion Oaks has? I heard there are over 40,000, but I don't know for sure. I would have to check because it's not an easy question. I actually had that question on Rolling Hills, and I actually had somebody go and count them. And by the way, Rolling Hills has 5,000. It was like there's no. I tried checking with the building and planning. I tried with property rate. Nobody could tell me how many lots were in Rolling Hills subdivision. So I finally was like, here's the area, count the squares. I mean, I didn't know what else to do. So for Marion Oaks, it's actually even more complicated, not only because it's not 5,000, it's probably closer to 40,000. They have them in sections. So it would be like unit 1, unit 2, unit 10, unit 12, unit. So it's a massive, massive area. Not only that, but there's subdivisions within the subdivision. Marion Oaks is more like a city, more so than a subdivision, honestly. So like D.R. Horton has a subdivision within Marion Oaks. I don't go figure, but they do. They have a subdivision in there. There's another subdivision called Timberwalk. They have Deltona has a subdivision, which is kind of funny because Deltona actually is the original creator of Marion Oaks. Little known fact. If you go in and look at all of the history of like Silver Spring Shores and Marion Oaks and stuff and how it all came about, and it's really fascinating stuff. Really, really fascinating. So I actually, once I saw the history of the companies and all of that over the years, I actually have a lot more respect for Deltona just because of that history. So very, very interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Creative Foco Ocala. Whoop whoop. So yeah, no, I'm actually working on a website for Silver Spring Shores. It was I'm working with one of my agents. She lives in Silver Spring Shores, and she requested because we're trying to give as much information about the subdivisions because they are a little odd. So different subdivisions, and this is going to be something. It's just a little project over to the side. It's going to be to do all of them. But we're like, well, let's go ahead and tackle one of the big ones. So I already did a website for my subdivision, and I provide, information like, what houses have sold, what schools, reports on the schools, stuff like that. Fun stuff too. But, fun stuff to do in the area and stuff like that. Jobs in the area, just interesting stuff. You can look at it. It's ocalawaterway.com. But anyway, so she requested that I do one for Silver Spring Shores. And I'm like, okay, my subdivision is like 1,000 houses. It's pretty small, actually. Silver Spring Shores is right up there with it's not as big as Marion Oaks, but it's pretty big. I was like, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and tackle it. We're gonna do it. So I started, providing some of the history and stuff that I knew, but then I started going into the, stuff that I didn't know, and it was interesting. Excuse me. So once that goes live, you can read all about it as well. But yeah, the general development, I knew general development had actually started with the Silver Spring Shores area. But it was actually the ones that own general development, the sons that got it or whatever, they actually split off from general development, the company that they basically helped create with the Canadian company. They split off because they did not like the values and ideas that company was doing. And so they split off and created Deltona, and they actually became in direct competition with them. And so they actually created Marion Oaks because, again, they were in direct competition with their own former company. And general development actually ended up going bankrupt, and people went to jail because of their practices. And not until the 90s, of course. I mean, this was all stuff, way back when. But it was really interesting reading it and seeing how you can kind of go after the fact. And Deltona as a company is still going strong. I mean, we still sell Deltona homes fairly frequently, actually. So it's kind of interesting. I'm just reading and going, okay, well, I knew about general development, but I did not realize that it was so closely created with Deltona Corporation. So kind of interesting, getting into it. But I'm a huge history buff, so especially history about Ocala. How did I not know that's a spin-off company from that? I mean, ah, so interesting, so interesting. Are new construction houses going over, under, or listed price? Do you have to compete with other offers or not? No, not at this point. No, it's become I think it's become a buyer. Yeah, it's become a buyer's market again. I would say houses are being sold at list price for the resale market, and for new construction, I would say they are more apt to work with you if the house is already built. Now, if you're trying to get a house that's still pre-construction, if it's, it's got a few months, that means they still have a few months to sell it. But if that house is already built and it's just sitting there on their books, they'll make you a deal. They will make you a deal. So I mean, it's not going to be huge. It's not going to be like you're going to get. Well, I was about to say 50,000 off, but actually, you never know. You never know. So I would say, just call me. Just call me. Well, I got you. But yeah, there are some definite things. Now, one thing I will note with those larger builders, especially like Lennar and DR Horton. DR Horton is concrete block. Lennar is frame homes. Okay, that's the major thing that I always note to people, because some people around here are super, super concerned and they want to make sure they have a concrete block home because of hurricanes or tornadoes or whatever. Mind you, we don't get the hurricane force winds here. We don't have storm surge. It would have to take over all of Florida to get storm surge. We don't get that in Marion County. We're too high up, and we don't have ocean. You kind of need ocean in order to have storm surge. So once in a while in some areas we will get flooding. But we know what those areas are. It's not rocket science. We actually have it right on the map, prone to flooding. um, but yeah, it's yeah. So as far as like, would I do a frame home versus a concrete block? I don't know. I love the fact that a concrete block is stronger, but at the same time, I don't like that it doesn't breathe. And if you know anything about some of the natural gases and stuff in the ground that can come up, it's actually better to have a frame home. So I don't know. There's radon gases and stuff. Yeah, that's a natural thing. You have no idea where a pocket of radon will be. Well, if you have a house that actually breathes like a frame home, you're less likely to have it trapped within the home. Concrete block, there's not a lot of stuff that can get out of concrete block. So, of course, they're built so that, some breathe. And of course, we've got the ACs, and that helps. And, just opening your doors once in a while and your windows, that definitely helps. Have your spring cleaning. That actually helps with radon gas. Just saying. But I don't know. I don't know which one I would actually prefer, because there's pros and cons to both. So I don't know. I guess whichever one I get the better deal on. How is the traffic? What it is like going to Orlando on a Saturday afternoon? Will you get out of Ocala? Yes. Ocala, no problem. I-75, that depends on I-75. Those are other people. So, so if you live here, you don't go on I-75. Like, you will avoid I-75 at all costs, basically. Those are other people. So we have like our town, and then there's I-75, and that's where other people go. It's true though. Like, if you have any kind of like, I don't know, if there's like, a homeless person or something anywhere we're like, "Oh, they probably came off of I-75." Like, we blame I-75 for majority of things. "Oh, they're not from here. They must have just come off of I-75." If somebody is rude at the Chick-fil-A my daughter works at, she's like, "They probably just came off of the highway." They're not you're not gonna even if they're not, even if they are actually somebody from Ocala, you're still gonna be like, "Oh, it's probably from I-75," like, it's like people from other areas. We don't know where these people come from. They're just literally driving through town. They happen to stop here and get gas or get something to eat or whatever. So we don't claim them. So yeah, but I-75 can get backed up. Oh my goodness, can it get backed up? But that's not Ocala traffic. We're not claiming it. Okay. That is somebody on the highway did something stupid 10 miles up the road. That has nothing to do with us. And that can happen any day of the week. So we can get around most of it because you can just go down 301 and go down to Wildwood and then jump on the turnpike that way. There's ways around it. We'll take back roads. You will know the back roads once you're here. You're like, I am not going on I-75, and 200 is also a mess. Nope, nope. So we just go the back roads. Now, for me, if it's like, if it's not saying that there's any backups or anything weird on I-75, yeah, I'm just going to jump on I-75, go to the turnpike, and, I'm in Orlando in about an hour. But yeah, Saturday afternoon, Sunday, as long as nothing weird has happened on I-75, we're golden. And that doesn't mean like Ocala has anything that could happen at any point between Michigan and Miami. That's all I-75. My problem with D.R. Horton are the carpets. I think they actually stopped doing carpet in the main areas now. They finally listen. Also, I did see that they are doing 2 closets in the master bedroom because that was like my biggest issue too. I was like, I would never, I mean, never share a closet with my husband. I love him to pieces. He is the other half of me. He's like the opposite side of the coin of me, but I'm not sharing a closet with him. Not happening. Mm-mm. No, no. Mm-mm. So the D.R. Horton homes we kept looking at, they kept having one massive closet. I'm like, no, I would have to literally make a hole in the wall and section this off. That's your part. This is my part. We don't know. There are certain things my husband and I know that we cannot share in this many years of marriage. We're going on 10 years. There is no sharing a car because we're both realtors and we have to like figure out like whose day is more important. No, I will go rent one. I will not share a car with him. Um, and the other thing is a closet. We do not do well with sharing closets because he wants to keep all these mementos and stuff. And I'm like, I need my shoes. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. So no. But they did change that. I did see that they went to a 2 master closet situation, which is great. And the carpet is now just in the bedrooms. So finally they figured it out. What is the best way to reach me? Oh, that's easy. Whoops. My keyboard died. This my assistant and I were both laughing today because I was like, I can't do my own email anymore because not this one. This is actually the best way, honestly. I just love to chat. That is easily the best way to get in touch with me. That will get to me. But yeah, without a doubt. I have a personal email, which I was using for a long time. It is so clogged up with crazy nonsense that I don't care that Kohl's is having a sale. I don't know why I signed up for it. They probably were giving me coupons. I don't know. It's so clogged up with junk. I can't even use it anymore. I had to go. My cell phone, it's the same thing. Did you know that you have to re-sign up for the do not call list every 4 years? I didn't know. I thought it was one and done. No, my cell phone was so messed up with spam calls trying to call a real estate broker to sell me stuff I didn't even know about and definitely didn't think I wanted. That I wasn't able to use it, even with like my own agents or my customers or nothing. So I put myself on the do not call and I was like, that's it. I cannot handle this anymore. I'm getting text messages and cell phone calls constantly. And it's just, it's constant. Like the same company will call me 4 or 5 times in a single day. It's like, no, I am literally getting harassed. So I put myself on the do not call registry. I was like, I thought I did this already. No, it only goes for 4 years. So I put myself on there. So there's this one company, bless their hearts, that keeps texting me. And they text all my agents too. They text all the realtors. And they do it over and over again. And I'm talking like I'll probably get 2 text messages from 2 of their different agents in a day. So as soon as it takes 30 days for me to be fully on the do not call registry, but as soon as that's in there, there's this lawyer over on TikTok. I'm literally just going to send those text messages over to him because I repeatedly, sometimes multiple times a day, told them to stop texting me. I have an insurance. Amazing. I don't need health insurance. I am golden. I love it. Tirsa is amazing. She's over at Florida Blue. She's my girl. I absolutely would refer anybody to her. I do not need you to contact me for health insurance. You are literally stressing me out. I'm going to have heart issues because of you stressing me out. Like I don't need it. So, so anyway, this TikTok guy, I guess I made a TikTok on it. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so he's like, that's all I do. That's all I do is go ahead and send them a little piece of paper and it goes through the courts and you get $500. And I'm like, I don't even care if I get $500. I just want them to stop harassing me. As if they're like, I don't know, like I owe them money when I've never. So I found out that trick. I'm going to do it. I don't even care. I do not even care if I never see a dime from them. I just need them to stop harassing me. So I am on a mission now. Like I'm like the nicest, sweetest person until it goes too far. And then it's like, okay, it's on now. Let me just roll up them sleeves then. All right. We are going to take care of this because if they're harassing me like this, they're harassing other people and other people might not know that there's something you can do about it. Okay. That, if somebody calls me and they are genuinely like somebody that I wanted to talk to or what, absolutely, absolutely. But I pay for this thing. Okay. I pay it. Not all of these telemarketers calling me from who knows where. So if I'm paying for it, I should be able to use it. And if you're using my cell phone more than I'm using my cell phone, you should pay for it. So, all right, I'm off that soapbox. Sorry. It got a little excessive. Okay. It's driving me nuts. But yeah, it took me all of 10 seconds to put myself on the do not call registry. Go ahead and Google it. Do not call registry. You can pop yourself right on there. It's great. Wait about 30 days and then heaven help whoever calls you next because then it's on. I have to wait until November 18th. So as soon as that happens, I really hope that they do not contact me for health insurance because the only one that's allowed to call me about health insurance is Tirsa. That's it. Everybody else, I didn't ask for it. There's no way I asked for it because I've had her for years. Okay, off that. We wanted to move there. The prices have gotten higher. They're not sure if we still could, but for good reason, all that growth. Yeah, we definitely. Oh, you can't hear me? Can everybody else hear me? Denise Rivera said she can't hear me. I don't know. Maybe YouTube is trying to kick me off. Don't know. I don't know. No, the mute's not on. I should be good. Oh, okay. Chris Sarah can hear me. I don't know. Turn up your volume, Denise. Turn up the volume. I don't know. Okay. I would say, yeah, contact me. We'll see what we can find. We might be able to do something about that. Because yeah, we'll see. Okay. Send me an email. We'll see what we could do. It's amazing some of the deals you can find out there. Definitely. But yeah. Okay. I got so many people on here tonight. Is it because of the time change? Is that what it is? I kept wondering why. I was like, I had very few people on the YouTube lives, and I was like, oh, maybe I should stop doing it. but I think it's just that I need to do it later. I'm not sure. Did everybody have a time change today? Was it just Florida? 'Cause I feel like it's just Florida anymore. Everybody stopped doing it because it makes no sense. I hate it. I like the fall one better than the spring one, but it still feels like we're giving ourselves jet lag on purpose. It's bizarre. I don't I don't know why we do it. Like, stop. All right. Well, I am getting out of here. It has been a lovely day, but we are definitely we are done. So I'll be back tomorrow. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, I left my my email address in there. So just go ahead and hit me up and we'll go from there. Other than that, I will be back Monday, same place, same time. Well, I might be in a different place, but same time. And we can talk then. So, all right. You guys have a great night. And thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. I love all of the chit chat and the stuff going back and forth. You guys had some really great questions and stuff. It was awesome. Oh, thanks. Have a good night.